ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean, welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into this morning's episode of Science with Sean. Man, so I'm reading the book Scientific Integrity, right? And just studying it and going back and reviewing it along with other books that I'm previously studying and learning from. And I click on my notifications and I get a message from Dr. I don't know if it's Dr. Singer, but I get a reply on a video from Dr. Single, right? Mendel Singer. And Dr. Singer was like, hey, my paper wasn't retracted. There's two different papers. And then I go back and I look, and then I'm like, you're absolutely correct. So, Dr. Singer, I know I owe you an apology. And then I go back to look at the conversation that was being had centered around myocarditis. And lo and behold, it was a bait and switch. It was a bait and switch. It's more so like a copy and paste because it was a screenshot thing and it really wasn't providing in context all the information. So what I want to do here is I want to show y'all something. Follow the science. Forget who the claimant is. Follow the science. Even though that is the rule, you follow the science. Even though in the video I did show that the letter that had been, the switcheroo had been retracted, the initial onset of myocarditis as it relates to people under 20, written by Mendel Singer, this gentleman right here, Era Tub and Kabler, is still hasn't been peer reviewed yet. It is still under the preprint process. Once it has been peer reviewed and scrutinized and all of those things, then we'll have more insight. But as for now, this right here is not retracted. You may not remember because the video was done a month ago. But I appreciate the doctor for reaching out, if that is the doctor, and even addressing it. And it was really respectful. You know, I was like, hey, look, my paper's not retracted. The data that's in the second paper that you had, that paper is inaccurate or whatever. That paper had been retracted, and that's why Ottawa issued an apology. And the links that was used on, and I'm going to tell you where it comes from. The links that was used on a post, you already know, on Facebook, Social Media Sciences, that was used along with screenshots would reflect this paper. But it will reflect this paper in title, and it will reflect this paper in background. But it didn't reflect in conclusion, which the other paper that I actually showed a number of 850 million, not 450 million. And then, but it didn't state this. Now, even when we showed the actual information live, I read the conclusion. So I think that he wanted it to be separated from the other information, because when we went to that information was purely retracted, and he understood it and appreciated the fact. But myocarditis from primary COVID infection occurred at a rate as high as 450 per million in young males. And young males infected with the virus are up to 6 times more likely to develop myocarditis as those who have received the vaccine. So the whole notion centered around children or, people under 20 developing myocarditis from the vaccination, it is more receptible of being, and this is a fact. This is why I'm live right now, because this is the evidence. I'm not going to say fact. I'm going to say this is the supportive evidence science has that children infected with SARS-CoV-2 have a higher risk of developing myocarditis than they do from the vaccine. This is a big deal, especially in the lieu of Moderna being approved at this particular moment, because they were looking at instances of a few people developing myocarditis in the research, and they wanted to get those numbers down because of the dose usage, or it could be the dose usage. Who knows? The science hasn't spoke on it. However, people under 20 that catch COVID have a higher risk of developing myocarditis. So Dr. Single is on par. All right. Now, I did respond because I wanted to get him on, right? I wanted to get him on the show, and I wanted to actually talk to him about his paper and see if we could do a deeper dive into his research instead of going into the full text. I wanted to see if we could pull, maybe potentially, because I'm going to let you know right now, doctors are aware. They're watching Science with Sean. Could you believe that? Even if someone sent it to him, could you believe that? That he would take the time out to actually review the video. So yeah, so what I want to do now is, I want to not only, what I'm saying, if I do it live, I can, what I'm saying, I can correct it live. But I do want to let you know that science has integrity. and no and and no one is above correction. But also no one is above scrutiny. See, I could have avoided it and not said anything. It just let the comment be the comment and just kept on going as if nothing was ever wrong. But I have integrity. You see what I'm saying? Like I came back live. Like he messaged the other day, and I just seen the notification because I was just going through looking at the notifications, YouTube notifications under Science with Sean. And I saw that he had responded. So I'm like, hold up. This is the author of a paper. So I went back, scanned the video, looked at the video again, went through the few videos, saw what happened. I went back to the post, which I should have put the post on there. I went back to the post, looking at the misinformation skewed on the actual post and these screenshots. See, this is where I got trapped. I got trapped in a screenshot header. So I'm looking for the screenshot header, and then I'm looking for what the person was using as data. So then I went to look for what the person was using as data, and the two were misrepresented. And really, I didn't even get into this, right? Because I'm dealing with this first portion, and then I went to the PDF. When I went to the PDF, and let me see if I can do it here. And then I went to a PDF, and when I clicked on the PDF will come up. When the PDF, oh, that's how we rocking. You don't want to give me the PDF? So when we pull up the PDF looked just like this. But there was an aha moment. And in that, the conclusion data and the statistical data was different. So I immediately went back and said, hold on, boom, 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 pulled it, review. And then I said, you know what? I'm finna go live and talk about this. I did it live. I'm gonna correct it live. But I was more pleased and impressed with the fact that a doctor would take his time out who was submitting work on the subject matter to even respond to a video. So hopefully that he'll get this one too, and maybe he'll respond. Now, some people do have contention. I don't know how much contention. Excuse me. Um, but we'll deal with that. So the risk of myocarditis, those infected with COVID, was up to 6 times that of those who received the vaccine. Debunk that as well. So he's asking, there's a bunch of people saying certain things on here, all kind of different things, right? The first comment didn't have contention. There's a lot of support in this, but there are points of contention, as you can see, because other people have taken a position to say, now talk about this, but the news media doesn't. The media doesn't sit here and say myocarditis is more prevalent in unvaccinated people under the age of 20 than those vaccinated. That's not what the news cycles do. The news cycles spin it the other way, and they never talk about the unvaccinated being more susceptible to myocarditis after COVID infection. They simply say myocarditis, blah, blah, blah. So I want to take a look at something real quick. Published 7/30/2021. This is teens' heart risk from COVID far exceed that of vaccination study. This is supportive information, but this article here includes the author, Mendel and his work, right? The preprint is mentioned here. But then you go a step further, right? Claire Wilson published in August, months later, information that comes from Singer's article. You see this? See this quote here? Also, even in other myocarditis conversations, I've mentioned this study without knowing the author. I think it showed up in CDC. Yeah, I was on the CDC website or something like that. And there was data there. Yes, yeah. I hope they are. But I think I would probably get more respect from the doctor for doing this than he probably have respect for people in the comment section of this. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they disagree. But man, look, I really appreciated the doctor for reaching out, and that was dope. Um, there's your support there. You ain't got no argument from me regarding this. I do know that your information, and I did say this in the video, said people are misrepresenting information. I did say that, and they are. They're taking data. They're taking scientific data and they're misrepresenting it in a way to make it seem like it's something other than that. This is why I even went loud to talk about myocarditis and the vaccine hesitancy regarding teens. So now that I got that out the way, and we got some people in the building, uh, please like the show, share the show, tell a friend, tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? I think it's dope that we do got a doctor. But I wanted to come on here to talk to y'all about the state of Europe. And I wanted to go over something that was published 2 hours ago from Dr. Jetlina that I received in my email. And why am I even bringing up this? Because you heard me say this before, that we're entering into the winter months, colder temperatures, and Europe is under the attack from COVID. Lo and behold, they are receiving spikes. at greater risk, greater rates. And what does that have to do with us? That's Europe. So let's find out. It has everything to do with us. Everything to do with us. All right. So this is a bit of a different approach from our usual state of affairs, where our present current cases, hospitalization, deaths, and vaccinations. She'll try to answer two pressing questions. Here are the two questions. What is happening in Europe, and are vaccines not working? Should we still track cases? I'm going to say yes to number two before we get there. We need to continue to track cases. So what's happening in Europe? Europe has become the epicenter of Sars Cov2 pandemic. Selfishly, the states continue to watch because Europe has acted as an early warning sign throughout the pandemic. Remember the Alpha variant. Almost every European country is increasing its cases, some at alarming rates. So here's a chart. Now remember, if you're on your cell phone, change your quality to 720, and you should be able to see what I'm showing a little bit more clear. I'm gonna zoom in too. I probably zoomed in a little bit too much more. So as you can see here, between June and November is daily new confirmed COVID cases per million. And as you can see, 2,468, who do we appreciate? Look at Belgium, Ireland, Netherlands, Hungary, Greece. Look at all of these numbers are up as the months go. July, they were up. Then they came down. Then they were kind of teetering, especially in a lot of lower areas. Look at this, in lower areas, but then there was curves. Look at this. They're all up. Every last one of them up. Okay, I can zoom in. So now I'm gonna make this really big on y'all screens. Now that I know that I'm within the confines of my screen. Yeah, so you should be able to see this really, really, really good now, especially if you're in 720. So, but I think a lot of Americans assume that all of Europe has very high rates of vaccinations. And many do have much higher rates than the United States, but there's also countries with suboptimal coverage. So believe it or not, we continue to see this beautiful correlation between country level vaccination rates and case rate deaths. Countries with the lowest vaccination rates have the highest cases. For example, the Czech Republic has 43% unvaccination rate and a 7-day average of 499 cases per 100,000. And countries with the highest vaccination rates have the lowest cases. For example, Portugal has a 12.4 unvaccination rate and a 7-day average of 67 cases per 100,000. So here's a 7-day incidence per 100,000 residents. And as you can see, Ireland, Belgium, the Czech, Greece, Hungary, and the UK, Poland, Portugal, Spain, and these areas that are not fully vaccinated share population within. So there's your case right there. We can get here to get more with the source. Now, she continues to say, there are outliers like Germany, 31% unvaccinated, 7-day average of 438 cases per 100,000. Germany is breaking case records. Hospitals have stopped elective surgeries. The German Armed Forces is preparing to mobilize 12,000 soldiers to assist overrun healthcare systems. This is an odd picture, as Germany has been a consistent success story throughout the pandemic. Remember, Sputnik. The reason of this surge is always complex, but includes a change of leadership, politics, and restrictions lifted prematurely. Sound familiar? It also includes a dangerous wave of vaccine skepticism and disinformation campaigns. Sound familiar? There's certainly a variation within Germany. Southeast Germany has the highest case rates per capita, and they also have the highest populace of right-wing radical alternative for Germany AfD party. Sound familiar? In a recent poll for Forza, 50% of unvaccinated identified as AfD, which is a part of their alternative for Germany. So here's your per capita regarding Germany. They just don't believe in it. They just don't. Now, German states, followed by the same correlation as European country states with the highest case rates, have the lowest vaccination rates and vice versa, as you can see here. Across Germany, unvaccinated people are taking up the majority of hospital beds. Robert Koch Institute reported last week that 87% of adults under 60 receiving intensive care have not been vaccinated. 87% is not 100%. So Germany has another problem. Eligible Germans are not getting boosted. Only 4% of the eligible are boosted. Part of this has been due to confusing messages causing dire consequences. As RKI reported, in ICU is 1 in 3 patients over 60 were vaccinated. The situation is also tense in nursing homes. While people are rushing to now get boosters, it's a bit too late for this wave. More vaccine information in my email. Importantly, German deaths are substantially lower than previous waves. I expect that this will increase. Remember, deaths lag cases. That has always been the emphasis. And I apologize that my icon is in the way of people trying to follow along with me in the article. So let me remove. I'm tripping. Remove that. All right. There you go. Sorry about that. So importantly, German deaths are substantially lower than previous waves. Cool, we're there. But certainly not at the rate we saw back in December because we now have vaccines. So now you have the reported cases per day and recorded deaths per day, as you can see regarding this data. All right. Now in the US, cases have begun to increase. Now, just when we begin to say that cases was down because they were around 90,000, then it went to 85, and then it went to 70 to 75, cases have begun to increase. Would this be considered a fifth wave or an extension of a fourth wave? Nonetheless, it's deflating, exhausting, and frustrating. We was just making progress. So let's go. Here we go right here. March, November, all those new months at the beginning of the month, then we come down, and then September, October, November, we in the thing. So Alaska has finally receded as case leader. Remember, they were leading at one point. The baton has been passed to Minnesota. They're averaging 67 cases per 100,000. New Mexico, 64 per 100. North Dakota, 62. Alaska, 59. Vermont is increasing in this case is fastest, 85%, followed by Rhode Island, 55%. Many have asked about Vermont as they have the highest vaccination rate country after Puerto Rico, 72%. And Vermont is 82%, have at least one dose. That's the thing. You're looking at dose usages. You got one dose versus two dose. Now, first, this isn't 100%. There are still 100,000 people susceptible to disease. Second, vaccines aren't perfect. Some of these are breakthrough cases. Third, Vermont has an average of 1 COVID-19 death per day. That's something to celebrate, which isn't captured by increasing case trends. So Vermont, in a 30-day month, have 30 deaths. One death. They're averaging one death a day from COVID. Not the 10, not the 50, not none of those that it could have been before vaccination. One. So should we still track cases? Many strong opinions are appearing in the media, media ops, Twitter, YLE inbox. Why continue to track cases? Why not just track hospitalizations and death? Why should we vaccinate, still care about the pandemic? Well, Vermont is not the norm. As a nation, we're at 81,000 new cases per day. This is up 5 to 6,000 cases per day from the last time that we talked about it, and we were at 70 to 75. So we have high rates of transmission directly affected the vaccinated for 4 reasons. Here we go. Mutations. High levels of transmission means faster rate of mutation, period. We know Mu can escape our vaccine, an infection-induced immunity. Thankfully, Mu can't outperform Delta, but we are just a few sublineages away from Delta making the same changes. Ineligible. There's still a large chunk of the population that is susceptible. Believe it or not, people still use the numbers to make safe decisions for their families. These include parents, 0 to 4-year-olds, elderly who have higher chances of severe breakthrough cases, and tons of frustrated and helpless immunocompromised. Remember, we got a portion of people in America that's immunocompromised and have several and full of comorbidities, having multiple diseases, making them susceptible of not, gaining some type of immunity. Also, 3% of 5-11-year-olds are partially vaccinated, right? My son got like 2 weeks before he get the next one. Now, breakthrough cases, the more transmission, the more breakthrough cases. I think yesterday we talked about the viral loads and how much the virus intake one has to take in. So it goes back to that point. Dr. Leah Wynn gave a fantastic analogy during the Delta wave. Vaccines are like umbrellas. They protect very well against rain, but an umbrella during a hurricane won't help much. Flying blind. How many people doing this? We don't know what our storm looks like right now. There is literally zero national data that is publicly available or publicly communicated on cases by vaccination status. No vaccine versus fully vaccinated versus boosted. The last time the CDC updated their data was September 4th. We are flying blind. We got way too many people unvaccinated versus the fully vaccinated versus the people who have now been boosted. All right. So I do think the vaccinated can approach surges with far less anxiety, urgency. The sky is not falling because we have a great deal of protection, but please stay informed, make smart decisions, and understand others around you may be very much still living in the pandemic. This is key. The people around you may still be living in the pandemic, because you fully vaccinated. But it's people around you, like, for instance, Benita, who's going to go see her mother and her grandmother on Thanksgiving. They're still living in the pandemic, Benita. You ain't. But you are about to make yourself susceptible to the risk of a breakthrough infection, potentially, if someone that comes around them has COVID. Not to scare you from seeing your family members and friends or anything like that. I'm using you as an example because they may not even, may not have it. They may have gotten tested before they even came to the commune with the family. You know what I'm saying? So it could be that. But most people may not be as lucky though. May not even be on their mind. Oh, I'm fully vaccinated. I can go hang around with my family members and all of that. Next thing you know, one of them is infected. Next thing you know, 1 or 2 cases appear up out of that communal. She said, I ain't going around them. Look, man, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. I'm actually, you know what I'm saying? everybody that I actually go around or I try to go around, right? I try to go around vaccinated people. I ain't even gonna lie to you. No cap. That's why I ain't even trying to really do much. I really be trying to go around vaccinated people. Now, if I'm out in the public outside or something like that, where I know it's less probability, you know what I'm saying? I'm still there. But when I go around people, and there's no lie, even when I go around people, for instance, when we ate dinner with Kofi, it was only 2 people that was unvaccinated. I think 2, maybe 3. I don't know. But me, I wore my mask, 2 masks, not 1, 2 masks the entire time. I only took my mask off to eat, and then I put my mask right back on. When I was at the football game, I had my mask on literally the whole football game. The reason for that is because I know how much time it takes for someone to encounter a variant. And that usually takes 45 minutes with the Delta variant. With other variants, it's a little bit more time. Remember, I think we did shows on this channel where we talked about how long would it take us to encounter the virus once it's in the atmosphere or in our presence. And we saw that the Delta variant was quicker, right? 45 minutes. And then remember, within 24 to 48 hours, you're contagious. You're hella contagious before you even develop any symptoms. So, yeah, man, that's the reality. Hit that like button, man. Share the show, man. All right, let's move on. I don't think the vaccinated can now approach surges far less anxiety or urgency. The sky's not falling because we have great protection, but please stay informed, make smart decisions, and understand that others around you may be very much still living in the pandemic. I think that was key. Now, the bigger question is, how do we use cases to inform policy? I have a strong opinion, but so does everyone else. In fact, what off-ramp and when? The most contentious debate among epidemiologists right now. As always, some strong public health leadership would be nice. So now we know what the epidemiologists are arguing, or what we actually been knowing, but we know more now because she's re-emphasizing the off-ramp. She said this several times. She's not the only epidemiologist to say, when is the off-ramp? What is the off-ramp and when is the off-ramp? Remember, she says, when do we come to a point of accepting a number of deaths and cases per day as the normal and everyone just going on about their lives? Right now, 12 to 1,500 deaths a day. Is that the normal? Do we want to, as a people, and I'm talking to everybody in the audience when I'm asking this question, and those of you who may be catching the replay and just maybe wanting to respond, if you please respond in the comment section if you are one of those who catching the replay. But if you're watching and you're not commenting or saying anything in the chat, I'm asking you a question right now in real time. What is an acceptable amount of COVID-19 deaths for you as a person living in this world, for you to be okay with people dying every day from COVID-19? Even though we have a vaccine that can prevent death, what is the susceptible amount for you? And then what is the susceptible amount of new cases per day or per month for you? What is acceptable? Is it 90,000 new COVID cases a day? Is it 2,000 COVID deaths a day? Right? Remember, this is the third leading cause of death. It went from non-existing to the third leading cause of death. Put your numbers in the chat. If you're listening to me, I know some of you might be working and can't comment or anything like that, but sneak a comment in, man. What is the susceptible amount of COVID-19 deaths for you? Is it 1? Is it 10 a month? Is it 100? Do you want COVID-19 to remain the third leading cause of death, or would you rather see it down in the bottom? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking. I'm asking, COVID-19 deaths have far exceeded other deaths by far. So is 100 a month a susceptible number for us to target? Is the case rate 5,000, 10,000 new COVID cases a day better than the 70, 80, or 90,000 COVID cases that we're seeing? What is a susceptible number for us to turn the corner? Now, I'm seeing some zeros in the chat, and scientifically speaking, just based on the science, I feel y'all, but zero is, remember, the vaccine is not 100%. And 99.98% of COVID deaths are in the unvaccinated. So at some point, we should see something like a 0.02%, which could yield potentially 20 deaths, 50 deaths, potentially, if there are breakthroughs. If everybody was vaccinated, you might see 20 to 50 deaths a month. Would that not be susceptible? But if it's unvaccinated people out there and that's still the leading cause from this thing, then you're looking at a higher rate, which is going to take you back in the thousands. And then if we're approaching a fifth wave, right? If Europe is any indication of what's about to come or what's about to happen in the United States, and we see another surge, then the deaths are going to increase, and we're going to see them going into the month of December, January, February. So as a people, look at your family. You don't know your entire family, but you probably know 100 or 200 people in your family potentially, or recognize their faces. Out of those 200 people, how many of them would you be okay with dying? That's an honest question. And I know everybody's going to say zero. And that's realistically. I don't want nobody dying. That's the selfishness in us as individuals. We don't. Man, look, I've had people die every year since I was 9 years old. When I was born, my auntie was murdered. And then I lost grandfathers, great grandfathers in that process. I was just baby at that time. But when I went at 9 years old, from the time I was 9 through my whole adulthood, man, it's like I was losing 1 or 2 people a year, maybe 3 sometimes. It's crazy for my family. But what I'm saying is, what is a susceptible number? Teddy said his family having a Zoom Thanksgiving. Okay. You're right. Everything is everything. This fool said you asked it wrong. You should have added realistically. All right. So realistically, okay. What is a susceptible amount of deaths that we should incur? Remember, it's 330 million people. What is a realistic number? What's susceptible from COVID? It's the third leading cause of death. As a scientist, now think of this not as a don't think of this as a uh, how you are right now in your right state. As a scientist, as an epidemiologist, as an immunologist, virologist, or whoever, from a scientific perspective, how would you now remember states like Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas? They didn't see when you looked at births to deaths, There were more people, basically, I believe, during the pandemic. There were less births and more deaths in those southern states, which was a cause concern because there was no balancing, or growing the population per se. And some people, you could correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being corrected, but I am positive about Alabama, because I read the article regarding the birth compared to the death rate. But we also have a higher portion of these southern states that are unvaccinated and have been taking ivermectin um, pills, horse pills, and we have a higher case of deaths in those states from unvaccinated people that we know. So we know that there's an increased number there, and uh, the mortality rate is higher compared to birth. 8%, that's a big number. Yeah, 8% of the population, it's a big number still. I think as far as scientists would rather see, because we have a vaccine that prevents death. So because we have a vaccine that prevents death, I think scientists would be happy with 2%. I mean, not even 2%. They would be happy with 0.002% or something like that, or 1.3% or 0.3%. I'm gonna tell y'all mine. I'm gonna put it so you know what I'm looking at. I'm gonna let y'all know 0.02. This my number, and I still think that's wrong. It could be an extra zero in front of the two. 99.98. So yeah, I think I'm cool somewhere around that 0.03 or 0.02 area. Y'all saying 3%, that's high. 8%, that's high. But you see what I put in the chat, 0.025. I think that's a susceptible number that that we can deal with. So when you take a number like that and you equate it down, that would mean in the hundreds. You see what I'm saying? Not the thousands. That would be in the low hundreds. That's more susceptible than anything else, I would think. So let's look. This KFF, yeah. All right. There you go. Look at this. This for people who just thought I was just playing. Average daily deaths in the US. Heart disease, cancer, and what? COVID. And this number wrong. COVID is the third leading cause. Remember, this was obsolete. This went from non-existing, ladies and gentlemen, non-existing to being the third leading cause of death in the US. And let them get this under control with that mRNA cancer vaccine and watch these deaths start shrinking. So we got a vaccine for this. That's why I'm saying in the low hundreds. And we're not averaging 700, by the way. Look at that. We were at 759,000 deaths yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. The number was 759,000. The number is now 762. When I said this has killed more people, man, I was not lying to y'all. It's even up. 783. It's even up. Wow. 783, almost 800,000. Look at that. So this is updated. This is updated as of, November 15, 2021. Yeah, this is updated. This is as of right now. And this could change. This number right here can change by this evening. We could see this number increase by this evening. But we literally was at 759. Look at that. New deaths. Pennsylvania reporting 10 right now. Others haven't reported in. But right now, we just had 10 new deaths as of today. Look at that. Man, we tripping, bro. Look at this. We went from none, none to watch this. 759, October 23rd, 760. Look at that. 762 on 27. Watch the deaths. Damn near double. 2,000. Then watch they go down to like 1,200. Look. 768, 769. 769, 33, 770. 770 to damn near 1,400 deaths the next day. On November 2nd, 1,400 deaths. November 4th, they ain't got third on here. Well, I can't catch it. There were 3,000 deaths between the 2nd and the 4th. So 1,500. 13. This was 7 on the 4th. It was 7,743, 7,757. 1,400. 7,743, 775 to now 7,766. 7,766. Death slow right there to 777. To the hundreds, it went up 700. And then it jumped. So between the 14th, between the 12th, but the 13th, it was 783. It's only a couple of deaths reporting in right now. But we're 7. Well, damn, man. And we potentially may see a spike following the UK. The way this pandemic been trending, remember, the UK showed us first. The UK showed us first, and then we followed the wave behind the UK. All right, so look. Protect yourselves. wash your hands. Every time you use the restroom, wash your hands. Before you eat, wash your hands. After you eat, wash your hands. If you out, come home, take your shower. Mask up when you out. If you're going to be in large crowds, mask up, 2 masks. You're going to be around your family Thanksgiving, be careful. Make sure y'all, tell them about the book. Show them the book. So help them get a copy of the book. We need to arm our people because we can't stand to lose more people, man. Straight up. Look forward to more work from us, Kofi Pasa research team. David, somebody got something coming down the pipe. We just need to continue to be aware of what our surroundings say and what's going on. Keep ourselves updated with the data. Court calls vax mandate fatally flawed. Medicare premium spike. I think a lot of people that are unvaccinated insurances will be going up. I'm sorry that that's going to happen to you. I have no control over that. But just be prepared for your premiums to increase because you're unvaccinated. And you're probably going to have to show proof of that. Get your kids vaccinated. Get your kids vaccinated as well. Just look out for more information, man. As I get the information on my updating information and letting people know, I'm real heavy on just trying to get more breakthrough infection information to kind of go through. Yeah, they do. Yep, you can get an N95 in black now. He said, Pierce said, I'm going to interact with you on the internet because I want to live. Boy, you crazy. So look, man, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I know it's early for some of y'all. I mean, catch the replay. Pretty much this was a me retracting some stuff that was misrepresented and had Dr. Singer's name on it. And I made sure that I did it live, that I corrected live, and that we move on. That's integrity. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate if that was Dr. Singer for reaching out. I even show supportive evidence for that. And even in the demonstration that I actually did, you know what I'm saying? I dealt with the bait and switch. But this is how careful we have to be with pseudo information, because pseudo information will be a bait and switch. They were presented as scientific coverings, and then they will pull the chair on you the further you go in with them. So if you are in a conversation with someone on Facebook and they are using screenshots and they will not provide you with the source link and you can't find the source link, it's almost best that we don't even address it, because we can't falsify it, we can't fact check it, we can't do anything because they're screenshot and stuff. Now, if we have the head of the article, then we can go get the evidence and read the article for ourselves. But please be informed. Please be informed. Oh man, I don't smoke, so USOL. Y'all can wait it bait. I don't wait. I ain't in none of that. Hey, look, man, go to the Monster Warrior Clan. Check out the show I did yesterday on the Monster Warrior Clan. Oh, yeah. So hold on before I end the show. Yeah, you got questions, comments, concerns, stuff like that. Absolutely. Or you can just hop on the panel, bro, if you got time or whatever you want to do. It don't even matter. I really need to go use the restroom though. I'm playing. Hold up. Let me see where you at. Where you at? Unless you put it on Facebook. Bro Lavelle. Let me see what bro Lavelle. Okay, he got his book. He said this should be interesting. Let's see who LOL'd at it. Somebody LOL'd at it. I must got that person blocked. Yeah, I got whoever that is either got me blocked or I got them blocked. Who LOL, bro Lavelle? You in the chat? Hey, today my cousin's birthday, man. I call them the triplets. You know what I'm saying? They all got the same birthday, but they born at different times. You know what I'm saying? But two of them have transitioned. You know what I'm saying? And we miss them. You know, but it is what it is. You know. I'm still waiting on that question though. Man, you can come on here and ask me. You could inbox me on Facebook and ask me. I'm still live just to see what the question is. But while I'm waiting on your question though, I am going to man, y'all know I'm late for class, right? It started at 10, right? I'm late for class, it started at 10. But let me hit y'all off with some little science, just a little bit of science. Hold up 1 second. Let me get it queued up.
Amy Rosenfeld. Hello, Amy.
Hi, Benson. How are you today?
There's a nice digs there. What's that?
I moved into the office. It's quieter. It's actually warmer too.
Hold up. Before I show it, I don't want Facebook tripping on me, yo.
And so now people can see. By the way, I'm gonna go to the wide screen for a moment so that people can see the phage pillow there in the background.
Is that the signature of the office?
And someone said during class today they miss it.
Okay, well, we're going to pack it up on Friday and bring it to the incubator.
Coat racker. What do you call that? COVID? A pandemic, let's say.
Pandemic, 3 more years. We're just ending the second. And on such a high note, too. I read today that even though New Mexico has a high vaccination rate, hospitals are overwhelmed. Wonder who's in them.
So Joey Jojo said it's her first one, but she's stoked for it.
That's great.
All right. I like when you're stoked. And you know, during the classes, the Virology Live, people are stoked also. They're very excited. It's all I can do not to look at the chat while I'm trying to talk because there's so many cool things going on. Pete thinks there might be time to go every 2 weeks. I bet not. I bet people would disagree, but you don't have to come every week. And of course, you can always watch them another time. But each one gets about 10,000 views, right?
Yeah, it's great. It's better than a lot of Twibs and other podcasts. Yeah, for sure.
You think we're coming here for punishment? Oh, by the way, folks, I wanted to thank Some people have already contributed. Mary Ann, thank you so much. I have something to say about these contributions here. Alexi, thank you so much for science, for research, for knowledge. That sounds like a call to action, doesn't it?
It does.
Justin, thank you so much for your contribution. I finally figured out how to get the money from YouTube.
It's great. Now maybe you can figure out how to make this office warmer, because now
You just said it was too warm.
No, I didn't say it was too warmer. I said no, it was warmer than the lab, which it is, but now not so much. So, all right. Well, I think the windows leak.
Thank you, Sandy, for your contribution. The windows do leak. And when it's windy outside, there's a whistling in the windows. So let's dive
in the windows.
Let's dive into some questions here.
Country music song is that?
I don't listen to country music. That's Nels Eldie. Actually,
but doesn't the whistle in the windows sound like a country music song or something?
It might be. It might be. It might be. Brendan says, is the mutation of COVID an affirmation of evolution? What argument would Darwin say? Is there archaeology of viruses? Are there viruses of few-celled organisms? All right, let me take the last one. There's viruses of everything. Single cell, few cell, many cells. You got it. Everything on Earth has a virus. Amy, is the mutation of COVID an affirmation of evolution?
I don't know what mutation of COVID means.
The mutation of SARS-CoV-2.
You mean the emergence of SARS-CoV-2?
I think
I don't know that
variants. The emergence of variants. Yes, I'm sure.
The emergence of variants?
Yes.
An affirmation of evolution? Sure. Mm-hmm. Could be.
What would Darwin say? Darwin would be amazed because his organisms took a long time for selection to occur, whereas selection can occur in one growth cycle. I say in my lectures, Darwin would be astounded. He knew nothing about viruses, but they have evolution in real time. It's great. It is great. George got the Moderna vaccine and is eligible for a booster with the option of Pfizer or a half-dose Moderna. What would you recommend? Is there a benefit of mix and match? I have to tell you guys something. So my wife watches Saturday Night Live, so she played this clip. They do a fake news thing, right, where two guys are giving the news, and one guy said, CDC says it's okay to mix and match your vaccines, and the guy looks and he goes, oh yeah, let's just mix and match all our drugs. Sure, what the hell? Try this, try that. He was making fun of it. It was great. Amy, it doesn't matter what you get for the booster, right?
No, not at all.
Especially since Pfizer and Moderna are almost identical. Well, the nucleotide sequence is identical and the lipid nanoparticle is slightly different. So get any one you want. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And as I said last week, like grams doesn't mean anything. Could be exactly the same number of molecules.
Can I push the second dose of Pfizer to 6 weeks instead of 21 days?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Amy is all for distance between doses.
For sure.
Distance between doses.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it might help the negative side effects. Maybe. I mean, your arm's still going to hurt when they jab a needle into it. So.
Ryan is receiving immunosuppressive drugs. So Daniel Griffin would recommend a booster for sure, right?
Absolutely.
What's the latest thoughts on hybrid immunity? I hear nothing mentioned in the UK about it. Thankfully, I saw Shane Crotty on Twitter.
So first of all, I hate the word hybrid immunity.
But what do you really think about it? But what do you really think about it, Amy?
It's just immunity.
It is immunity. But what is this, Amy? Is it mixed infection and vaccination or mixed different kinds of vaccines? What is it referring to?
I think it's referring to vaccine and infection.
Okay.
But I don't really pay attention to the word because I don't think it really is. I don't really believe in the difference. I think that they're snapshots and they made big papers out of them. And then I think that there's really no difference whatsoever. Especially when you're talking about like timing and stuff. I don't think we actually really can say anything because this isn't the regular vaccination schedule and stuff. So. And next week there'll be a paper that contradicts everything.
But don't you think that after infection followed by vaccination, you have a broader antibody response, more high titer and so forth? I think that's been well demonstrated, right?
I don't think the broadness of the antibody response has anything to do with the vaccine. And I think in that case, the vaccine just acts like a booster. So that if you titered somebody who got infected, who got reinfected, they probably would have a big high titer of antibodies too. So what's the difference?
Alexi's mother has diabetes and taking drugs for blood pressure. Is it safe to take the vaccine?
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't see why not. Daniel would say absolutely.
Well, my father has type 1 diabetes and he takes blood pressure medicine and stuff. So, and he got the vaccine, so why not?
I take blood pressure medicine when I remember to take it, and I got vaccinated.
All of a sudden is when I remember to take it. First of all, you don't even need it, so I'm clear why you're taking
I have
it.
like borderline. I'm one of those.
It's called
borderline.
white coat.
White coat. Amy, what was I going to say now? Oh, someone sent me an email today and said, it's really fun watching you and Amy. You put your foot in your mouth, and then she tells you so, and then you try and fix it, and you put your foot further into your mouth.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes.
Good thing I have a great sense of humor. But you know what they said on the class?
Seriously?
I'm joking. It's a joke. Sometimes I don't. But in the class, they were praising. Several people said Michael Mendel has the best video background on the internet.
Man, I'm echoing.
Really? Isn't he a chef?
Michael Mendel, the guy who wanted to make
Well, there's
lipstick.
actually also a chef named Mike.
All right, so I wanted to, excuse me, I wanted to play a little bit of that clip. The reason that I wanted to play a little bit of that clip, because if I'm not mistaken, but I believe you asked me that question before about people who have diabetes or take blood pressure. Somebody asked me that before. So there's your answer to your question. Are they okay with still getting the vaccination? Absolutely. 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 So we just need to deal with it from that perspective. But look, man, I appreciate everybody tuning in. I'm gonna keep this bite size. Mr. Singer, you know, as you see, as I did it live, I responded live. Of course, there's integrity and everything, and I uphold that. So appreciate everybody for tuning in again. Make sure you like the show, share the show, tell a friend. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you later.